Rabbi Kaplan, Baruch haba. We're happy to have you back.
Oh, I wasn't talking for the last few weeks. I didn't have anything to say in the Mizgeret of Sichas Chun Shel Talmidei Chachamim. Like what I've been doing, I think is, and if something happens in everyday life, and I get a certain spark, a certain feeling, understanding, and that gives me an idea of what to talk about. Now, drushes I can say. You take a chazal, you take a pussy, and you think about it, and you say a drush on it. But there are plenty of darshanim on the net, and I don't need another
Kaplan.
one. Who's going to listen to another one?
Yeah, we have a new darshan on our channel. We have a Goyin Agadol of Moshe Levi.
Oh, yeah, well, that, of course, that we don't have to be afraid who's going to listen. That's one of the Gedolei Ador, one of those that know zip shot, not upshot, or maybe Yovin. But my idea was that I'll talk about things of everyday life that happened to me, my experiences, and show insight. And then, of course, we bring Chazal all the time. And I think that's what it means, Sichas Chun Shel Talmidei Chachamim. They talk Sichas. Now, what do you think Sichas Chun means? They talk about the elections, they talk about this one and that one that's running for nothing, for a party. Then he made up some crazy idea, and then he'll go sit in the Knesset, in the Beis Meshugoyim, that's called Knesset. That's what Sichas Chun Shel Talmidei Chachamim is. I find it hard to believe. It means that they say insights in everyday life. Okay, let's say a Talmid Chacham has a car. Let's say it happens in America, let's say. And he was riding and he had a flat tire in the middle of the way. And he had to stop and waiting and that. Okay, so he talks about what happened over there. It's an insight into how the Rabbis Machshavos Belevis, Atzas Hashem, he's Sakum. Rabbis Machshavos, he thinks he's a big Talmid Chacham and he has plans. Atzas Hashem, that's the flat tire. He's Sakum. That will overcome everything. That's called Sichas Chun Shel Talmidei Chachamim. But to talk about, I was in a Beis Oval yesterday, and from by Adi Alter, you know who he is.
Yeah.
And I was saying that he has two brothers that are more modern than him, and modern people were coming. I heard somebody was saying that he doesn't like it when they talk against Gantz, when everybody's being mavaze Gantz. What do you mean he was a Ramatkal? Sof Kosof a Ramatkal, derech a little bit for a Ramatkal. I heard somebody say that. That got me thinking. And this is not really what I was planning to talk about, or we could talk about it next time. I remembered that post. I said, what kind of stupid comment is that? Around God, we have to have derech. Who said, why, what? And all of a sudden, I remembered that pasuk in Shmuel that Abigail said to David that you shouldn't make this mistake of killing Novo. Ki milchamas Hashem Adoni Lochem. You fight the milchamas Hashem, so now you're going to do a mistake and you're going to be mevaze yourself like that. I was thinking, so maybe that's the mucker of the Sichas Chun Shel Ha'Ma'aretz Hazeh. Sof Kol Sof Ramatkal. I said, he was lochem the Milchamas Hashem. Maybe the source came from Avigail for this Amor. So then I took out the Novi and I looked in the Mefarshim and I looked in the Malbim and I came up with interesting insights. which I can't say right now. But if anybody's interested in looking it up, so I just let you know it's in Shema Aleph, Perek Chof Hei, and it's Posik Perek Chof Hei, Posik Chof Ches. Kaso Yasa Hashem Adoni Bais Neman Kamachomas Hashem Adoni Nilcham. Okay, anyway, I just want to say that when you're in the street and in different places, and if you're listening good, you can hear things and think that it gives you what to think about, what the damn words mean. And you could come up with sichos, with things to talk about. Anyway, that's the purpose over here. Sichos chun shel tamid chacham. And the last few weeks, I didn't have any sichos chun shel tamid chachamim to talk about, so we were off the air for a while. And I don't know what will be in the future, but I just now had something that I was nisara. A day a mice that came to my hand. The mice was with, and I'm not going to go into too many details to protect the privacy of the Bali Adova, but the mice was, but I want to more the divrei Torah shebazeh is more important over here. There was a certain woman that came to Yodi, that I had a few conversations with her over the phone. And she told me part of her life story. And I prepared notes to continue the interview and ask questions to get a clearer picture. And I wasn't able to get back to her. As much as I tried, it didn't work, and I understood it's not lefi chavodi to keep trying. I think that maybe our producer will send that woman this talk over here if he feels it's the right thing. I decided that it's enough is enough, and you don't want to answer. You don't want to be interviewed, so I won't interview you. Even though I was very curious to hear all kinds of details of the story. But from the little bit that I did hear from the story of this woman, I thought about it, and I have a limud that you can learn from it. I want to say like this. I want to make an introduction to this. Let's say that somebody would go up to the business Malam, and he would hear how they're planning. They're planning a strategy or a tactic. I don't know which is the right word. How to deal with a person that's down there in Olamaz. You know what it is? Let's just imagine. Let's be medamyen. It's a big world up there. It's a world, an Ein Sofi world, and they're laughing at this world. They could laugh if they wanted to. They're talking about this problem and this problem, this problem. Let me just say about my own life. Then I'm thinking about what somebody said to me as a man and did to me 30 years ago. I'm sitting and thinking about my relationship with my father 55 years ago. Why did he do this? Why did he do that? And now I have to go be meshamish him, and after he made this and this mistake, and I wasn't old enough to understand that it's a mistake. And they're looking up there and seeing how I'm thinking this. And the thoughts that I'm thinking, they hear my thoughts. They're laughing. You idiot. You're thinking about how the way he raised you, and from the age 12 on, and you're thinking that was a mistake, and that was a mistake. Don't you understand that all these mistakes was to shape you into a certain shape that later, when you'll be 50 years old, so you'll be able to deal with this shape that you were shaped into through those mistakes, and you'll be able to deal with it and use it and overcome it, and that will add to and give you a certain depth that others don't have. Don't you understand that? And you're going and thinking, why did he do this? Why did he do that? I mean, it doesn't begin, these Muslims. They're laughing at me. But the problem is that I wasn't up there, and I didn't see the planning. And still hard to believe and hard to accept that this was the plan. Now, I'm talking about the story of this woman. I'm telling you all this. And I'll soon bring you another example from Kisvei HaKodesh, but I know that the tzibur that's listening to me is very curious. I said a story with a woman. The story was, this is mamish, only a small part. It says in Pasuk Zeh Sefer Toldos Sodom. And it means every person, it's a sefer. I could write a sefer on my Toldos. I'm sure the producer that produces me could also write a book on his Toldos. And everybody could, but I still think that some people could write more meaningful books than others. Yeah, I really think so. Not everybody's the same. Not every book, not every sefer. There's Sfarim, and there's Kuntresim, and there's pamphlets, and there's maybe Alonim. There's some people that their sefer told us it's an alone. It's a page and a half. The whole story of their life. Let's say Aviad HaKohen. Let's take him. His whole story of his life is a page and a half and alone. He went to law school, and he became a big lawyer, and now he gives out ideas as if he's the Chacham Mikol Adam. That's the whole story of Aviad HaKohen. And he understands how Rabbanim should be mityaches to agunis. I was talking about it with my father's physical therapist a few days ago. I was talking about that. So, okay, let's not get off the subject. So, some people, their life is a book, a thick book. Today, he was misgaber on this problem. And he was mechadish in learning this chiddush. And tomorrow he was nichsal in that problem. And he realized that he was nichsal. And he realized he made a mistake. And he decided, I'm going on with life with that mistake. The next day, he was again nichsal. And it was very hard for him to decide, I'm going on with life. And yet he still, okay, it's a whole sefer told us something. Really, I wanted to talk about the part of the story of Eve, but let me tell you this story that my main talk is not really this story of this woman, but what was ma'orer me, what brought me the spark was this story. This woman is telling me, how you day, a certain Indian, I called her up, and somehow it was very interesting that, she asked me to make a phone call to America for, of course, obviously, what do you make phone calls for? For money. What else? You have to be so smart to understand that. And I did her this favor, and I made the phone call about money. And then once I was on the phone with her, so I started asking questions, and I heard about her life, and I knew who her father was. And I was able to put together a certain part of the puzzle. Now, this woman tried to do the right thing and send her daughters to Beis Yaakov. And those listeners that might ask who says that's the right thing, so you'll soon see why I'm saying that. And she had a certain problem of getting in there, which is one of the problems in in Eretz Yisrael. Let's say that she's an Ashkenazi. Let's say her name was Berkovich. And she married somebody that's name is Asulin, let's say. So she called herself Asulin, like the normal way in the yeshuvas. And the Menahel had heard, what, your name is Asulin? Yeah, I can't take you in over here. Already filled in the quota of Sephardim. I would ask, when Hashem gave the Torah and he said, V'shinantam levanech, and he said you should build, and when Bilam said, Ma'tovu alecha Yaakov, and he saw the houses of Yidna, he meant Dafke Berkovich's, Sulin's not. What? We're trying to build the houses when we have Beis Yaakov schools. Our purpose is not to create intelligent women, and not to create learned women, and not to create women that could bring in parnasa. Although the hashkafa is changing, and people, and our tzibur HaCharedi needs a lot of rachman. And this itself, the fact that women have to go to work is a problem, and then there's a lot to talk about. But the purpose of a Beis Yaakov school in Sarah Schneer, when she got us coming from the Chofetz Chaim and from the Ger Rebbe, so they had in mind that we're going to build Batim B'Yisrael. We're going to build Jewish homes, and that was what they had in mind. And then not let the Chiloni youth that was spreading so much influence girls that they shouldn't want to build a Bais Neman B'Yisrael. That was the governor. So what? I was telling the producer today that I have a machtanista. I don't know what her maiden name was, but she comes from a place called Or Akiva, which is near Caesarea. A proud family of 10 children, parents from Morocco, and these kind of parents couldn't be mechanech their children. I think no. I also heard from Yeshua Meir, the producer, with his mechutn was telling us how his parents couldn't hold their children in Yiddishkeit. In Akku, he said he was. And then Hashem had Rachmanis and brought him back. And the same thing, this woman, Hashem had Rachmanis on her and brought her back. Wait, I have a phone call. Could I get off and come back afterwards?
Put this on, 1 second. Okay, Rabbi Kaplan, we're continuing.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I had to cut off. I had an important telephone I just got. So I'm saying like this. So the principal didn't want to take in the girl because her name is Asulin. So, and those that are in America that might be listening to this, they won't understand what I'm talking about. And it's better like that they don't understand. You shouldn't understand. I want to tell you something interesting. And I was by my sister Shelly Shevesh Dub last week. 2 weeks ago, 2 Shabbos ago. The 2 girls, guests that were there. And they were sent to them, I don't know by whom, from some school where girls come for a year to learn. And their name was Toledano. Everybody knows what that is. And they were from Montreal. And they were mamish princesses, 2 sisters. Mamish princesses. And maybe better than more tzniistic than my sister's daughter-in-law. And that's it, because over there's no difference between the Shevet Reuven and Shevet Shimon. But here and there, it's just other, and there's reasons for it, and there are justifications for it, and it's all the Zionim's fault that they messed everything up. mamas, they messed up in that. Those that don't understand, I could explain it to them in a separate talk. And most likely, even after I'll explain it, they won't understand. But the story is like this. So this Menahel says nothing. Finally, she went and got protection through somebody, some Rosh Yeshiva, and he helped and this, and then they took the girl in. And later on, the teachers, for some reason, didn't like the girl, and they tried making her trouble. Now, this I can't talk about because I don't know the two sides. There's always two sides to the story. They made the girl trouble. And I don't know. I mean, it reminds me of they once making my daughter in seminary, my daughter Tila Bruchel, when she was in seminary, they're making her trouble. What were they making her trouble? Why do you come late? So they're not right to make her trouble. You always come late. Well, maybe that was the case over here. So, and that time my wife was in America, so I had to go to the school and talk to the principal that she comes late. And I this is Derech Haga, but I just want to say that I didn't know what to answer. The principal was right. She comes late. So I thought to myself, I know what I'll say. So the principal says, your daughter comes late, and your daughter comes late, and it can't go on like this. So I said, you're doing a great job over here. Your mom is building babatim b'Yisrael. You're mechanech b'nos Yisrael for Torah and Yerushalayim, for building houses b'Yisrael. So the principal, this woman says, yeah, but what's with your daughter that's coming late? So afterwards, the principal said to somebody, or to my daughter, says, your father, he's so shakua and learning, we can't deal with him. we can't talk to him. I said, that's one of the greatest compliments I ever got in my life. It was worth it, the whole story, just for that. But anyway, so this girl got trouble, I don't know why, I don't know what, and then the mother decided, enough already, we can't deal with the Haredi world, we'll put them into dati-leumi. And I don't know the whole story, and I don't know too many details, because whenever I called up the woman, she didn't answer the phone, and when she did answer the phone in the middle, she said, I have to run away, I'll call you back in 20 minutes. And meanwhile, 20 days went by, and she didn't call back instead of 20 minutes. So I gave up. I don't want to deal with it. I can't deal with it anymore, even though I'm very curious to know. So what happened was, exactly like the Gemara in Sotum and Bezom and Bez, which anybody wants to know about orpah, Vatishak orpah lachamosha v'ruth dovkova. Said, goodbye, Haredi world, I don't want to know of you anymore. What? Now, I'm asking you, is there such a thing as Haredi world? There's no such thing, Bechla. There's Jewish world and there's Goyish world. There's no such thing, Haredi world and not Haredi world. What does the word Haredi mean? Haredi means he takes it seriously. He's horrid. He's worried. He might not be Mekayim the Deen. He might not be this man Kriyashma, this man Tefillah, I might miss. I have to prepare myself not to miss it. He's Chored al Dvori. What does it mean, a not Chored? It means, what do I care, man Kriyashma? If I have a day off and I can sleep more, so I'll sleep more and I won't have the man Kriyashma. I'll say the Shema Yisrael later. What makes a difference to say Kriyashma at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock? Who cares? What difference does it make? What do you mean, what difference does it make? And you don't believe in Hashem? You don't believe that there's some higher... No, I never thought about it. He never thought about it, and he's not going to think about it. And nobody told him to think about it. That's what it means, a not Haredi. Now... And Bechlal, so what do you go to shul for if it's not serious? Well, that's our culture, that's our way of life, that's the group we belong to, and we can't without the truth. That's also something. It's also something, but we in Olamazah and in Yana Olamazah, we're satisfied with what it's also something. We're not satisfied. It's also something. Let's say somebody has a store. She said, okay, it's a store. It's also something. No, there's some people that they need a reshet chanuyot. I can't. Baruch Hashem that I don't understand what it is. Not my world, and we have no shaykhs. And I have enough prutas I have to fill in that I'm able to live for a month. Of course, and when I had to marry children, I'm so special siyata dishmayim. And finished. But there's a certain seichel of Olam Hazeh that says that fruits and vegetables, you can have one store. But other things, you need a reshet chanuyot. Okay, whatever. So now, so it was Tishak, Orpah, Chamosa, Ruth Dovko. So she said, finished. And Lechelek lo b'charedim v'lo b'elokov. Yeah. What's charedim? Jewish people that take Judaism seriously. You want to define the word charedim in the encyclopedia, in the dictionary? I'll give you the definition. Charedim, Jewish people who take their religion seriously. That's it. Non-charedim, Jewish people who don't take their religion seriously. And then there's chardalim. It's people who look like non-charedim, and they do take their religion seriously. Very interesting definitions. Now, so this woman decided, okay, goodbye, let's go. What she did with her own private life, I don't know. Did she stop taking Yiddishkeit seriously? Or she continued, or halfway, I don't know. So I'm not in that. But the superficial look is that Charedim is a certain group. I says, okay, you Charedim don't want to take me and don't want to make trouble with me. We'll go to the non-Charedim. We'll go to the dati-leumi. What was the end? Tisha Garpala Chamosa. Orpah and Ruth were on the same level. They were in the same dveikus with Yiddishkeit. But it came a point where she saw that Ruth, that Naomi told them, what are you going to come back there at Yisrael with me? You won't find a shidduch. Nobody's going to want to marry you. And suppose I have a baby and he will marry. So what, you're going to wait until he grows up? Halohin tesaberna ad asher yigdolu. Halohin teagenu al benosei ki mar li ma'od mikem. Ki nogo bi yad Hashem, she said to her daughter-in-law. It's bitter. I'm going back to bitterness, she said, because the hand of Hashem touched me. She said, and the Bach explains in his Perush on Ruth, Ki mar li ma'od mikem. It's bitter and it's your fault. She blamed them because my sons married chicks like you, and my life is bitter because of that, and I'm going back. And you're going to go join me with that? And Orpah said, oh, that's what you think. Okay, goodbye. And the Gemara, you'll look up in Sotum and Beis Amir Beis, what happened to her that night that she left, and a Goliath came out from that. But for Ruth Dovka, Ruth said, yeah, well, you're going to put me down like that. You're going to say it's my fault because my name is Ruth, let's say a Geisha name, there was somebody, a lawyer, O'Connor. Do you remember him?
No.
You don't remember by the Dem and You case. They brought from America, they brought a lawyer, O'Connor. A Geisha name, right?
Yeah, okay.
So maybe her name was, let's say her name was Ruth O'Connor. So she said, so you're going to tell me because I'm a Shiksa, my name is O'Connor, so I I can't come along with you. It's not worth coming. And it's all my fault, all the bitterness. Yeah, I agree with you. It's all my fault. And I'm a shukse. My name is Okana. I'm not giving up. Ruth Dovkaba. So I'm gonna suffer all these visiones. Yeah. But I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna become. And Naomi said there, what are you coming? Go back with her. Go back with Orpah. And she even the Bach says she had a shita. She said, go back. And the Bach explains, she said, you're going there to worship. She's going to go worship Avodah Zarah. So you have a mitzvah to go be there with her, to watch her. She shouldn't worship Avodah Zarah. Maybe it's important. You have a tafkid over there. You have something to do over there. So Ruth said, I don't know about these cheshbonos. You might make sense what you're saying. I should go back. I have work to do over there. And then, but I'm not listening to anything. Suppose I'll die because I'm a Yid. I'll be chayav misas bezdin because I was a mechal Shabbos, let's say. Your religion, your Yiddishkeit tells us that if somebody was borer psolas mitocha ochel on Shabbos, he took out the shells from the ochel, and Eidim and were masrim, don't do anything. He did it, a small thing. He's chayav misa. That's what kind of Torah we have. I'm willing to die because of the Torah. I'm going to be a failure. I'm going to be buried in the cave of the quorum that were of the Aruge Bezdin. I'm willing for that also, just to stay a Yid. I'm going to take everything, all of everything I'm going to take on myself, but I'm not leaving this over here. Naomi saw that. She said, finish. And the Gross says, she's not just saying it because it's nice and it's cute and it's wonderful, and you have a Shabbos table and they sit around and they sing Zmiras and the Jewish home is so wonderful. That's not why she's coming. She knows in her father's house it's much nicer. It's much more fancy and beautiful, and they also sit together on that table. She's pushing herself. She's making a strong effort to go. But okay, finished. I see that you're for real. You're willing to take on yourself so much. What does it mean, take on yourself? Not to do anything. Just to let yourself go through what you have to go through. They're going to be mevaza you because your name is Ruth O'Connor or Ruth McCoy. They'll laugh at you, and you're just going to sit there and say, Baruch Hashem, I'm a Yid. Baruch Hashem, I became a Yid, and I'm just, maybe I care about the Biz. I do care about the Bizyanas. But Baruch Hashem, I'm a Yid. There's nothing better than that. And what came out in the end? She came that night and she said to Boaz, you're the Goel. And the Bach explains, you're going to bring the Gula. I'm Ruth Amosecha. Says the Zohar, he brings Shemaruva, I'm soaking in tzaras and Yisurim and pain. But I'm going to stay Amosecha. And I want you to spread out your knafech al Amosecha. You can bring the Gula. It's like talking to Hashem, says the Zohar. You're the only God. No other Gula is going to help us. We're going to make our own Gula. We're going to make a Medina. We're going to make Zionism. And we're going to make a dati-leumi Zionism. Only Hashem can bring the Gula. Nobody else can bring it. And Bruce was Zocher that Taka was Kigoyla, the Gula came out from her, Mashiach is coming out from her. But not everybody's on that madrege. And this woman that I'm talking about in this story wasn't on that madrege. And I'm probably also not on that madrege. And I had Bizyanus, and I sit and complain, why did he do that? Why did he do it? Why did he do it? Why did he take me out of Kamenich and put me and learn with me privately? Nothing came out of it. And he doesn't understand chinuch. And I know why my life had to be set up this way. Instead, I had to go to the meeting, and then I didn't know how to talk and learning, and everybody else did that. And I didn't understand the shir, and I was a dafug. And I'm complaining and complaining. Maybe I should do something. The kids here, but we were not zochet to be Ruth Dovkobo. But let's learn something from this story. And what happened, and she raised children in the dati-leumi system, and they came out very, very schwach, very, very schwach. And I'm not going to go into details, and I don't know too much. I didn't continue the interview. But my feeling is that it's a house over there. It's not a Haredi house, which means it's not a house that Yiddishkeit is what's important, that Yiddishkeit makes a difference, that if you're borer ochel mitocha psolis, or you're borer psolis mitocha ochel, it makes very little difference, because we are just Jewish as a culture, and we're not Jewish because it's serious. And I can't talk too much about the Indian, but I was shown pictures and v'chulu. Now, and this story and the Derech HaTeva says that these two daughters of this woman that are married are going to have children that are going to come out chilonim. That's what the Pashat HaSeichel says. I mean, if you yourself, if Yiddishkeit is not so important, if Moshe Rabbeinu, what the Torah that he brought down, and it was given and until it came to a Shulchan Aruch, is not something we should be nosing lave to. Only what? Only how to make money is what. Okay, you have to live, yeah, of course. But let's make that the ikr. I mean, I know people and that they work hard to make money, but the Torah is the ikr by them. They're much nefesh for Yiddishkeit. But then there's the people. It says in the Mishnah, in the end of Brachos, that the Tzdukim said, "Ein olam ela echod." They said there's only one world. So that's why the Chazal were masakin that they should say min ha'olam v'ad ha'olam. When they say a bracha in the Beis HaMikdash, they should say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokei Yisrael min ha'olam v'ad ha'olam. They shouldn't say ein olam ela echad. We could think it was the tzdukim of those days that they said ein olam ela echad. Rachmana litzlan, there's some that they don't say ein olam ela echad. They just don't say anything because it's not important. Of course ein olam ela echad. What else could you think there is? We have to discuss it. The tzdukim discussed it. They made a sheet. They talked about it. That was on their agenda. Is there one olam or is there two olamas? Are we living in a prosdor or are we living in a trackland? That was an agenda by them. But there's some, it's not even an agenda by them. The agenda is, do you have to have one store or do you need a reshet chanuyot? That's the agenda. And then when you make money, what are you going to do with the money? How fancy are you going to live? How fancy is your life going to be? And that's the agenda. So I'm saying, that's what came out from the EF Shiloba Charedim V'lo Belokehem. Yeah, so I won't be in that party. It's hanging up parties. I won't be in that party. I'll be in this party. I mean, and it's parties over here. So but how could I judge people? How could I judge somebody else? I mean, especially a woman. How could I judge if the woman that her husband is probably a chiloni? How could I judge somebody? Would I be able to take such bizanos? Probably not. I can't see myself taking such a bizon. Well, the quota is full. I mean, my name is Berkovich. What could be more Ashkenazi than that? And your name... So what if my husband is Asulin? So what? No, it's so easy to take such a bizayon. No. Okay. But just imagine. Let's think to ourselves. That's how I started the Sikha today. If we would have seen how Hashem was planning it, and Hashem was sitting up there and he was making a plan, I'm sending down this neshama and I'm making it go through. I mean, until this neshama got married, it was also not so simple. And I'm in the middle of interviewing, and I just didn't go. But I'm very curious, but it was also not easy. And finally, the neshama was living in a garbage can, and like a cat. And the cat met another cat inside the garbage can. And they're having a good time over there. In that garbage can, they throw out food from hotels. Good food with plenty to eat. And the fact that it's dirty around there doesn't bother a cat. So the male cat met the female cat, and the female cat met the male cat in the garbage can. And it was just so wonderful. What do you mean wonderful? Why don't you think a minute, you cat, where did the food come from? It came from a beautiful hotel, a beautiful home, where they made a wedding over there. This is leftovers. How can you live like that and say, this is Gan Eden, this garbage can, and this food is the Paris of the Eitz HaChaim and the Eitz HaDas inside this garbage can? Do you really think that's what it was meant for? So you met another cat inside the garbage can. So what? Don't you realize there's a world, beautiful world out there? The food that you found in the garbage can came from a fancy chasana last night. Why can't you become part of that fancy world? I don't mean fancy in the negative way. I mean in the positive way. Yofi. Emesa Yofi. Isha Yiras Hashem. Shekachin ve'evel Yofi. But the Isha Yiras Hashem, that Yofi, why can't you be part of that? Nah, it's good here in the garbage can. And here there's a zocher in the garbage can. Also a male cat. It's wonderful.
Rabbi Kaplan,
What?
how do they say in California, I've been down so long, it looks like up?
Very good. So I think, and now I didn't finish interviewing that person, but I got that feeling that that's really what's happening. That the person told me that he talks to Hashem. He's driving a salary. And I was very impressed from hearing all that. And but she made a comment. My friends don't look at me that way. Not that I don't understand what that comment meant. I like to go deeper into it, but I can't get through over there, and I gave up. But yes, maybe that's what's happening over there. Now the thing is, a person can go up, but what about the children? It's too late. Look up the Gemara and Sotum and Bezim and Bezim. It's too Hashem sent down this neshama. He said, I'm putting her through this and this and this, and these kind of bizyonis that the name Asulin is going to cause, is going to make it hard for you. And either you stand straight and you keep on with Verus Dov Kobo, I don't care, or you can say, no, Yefshi, like Lot said. Avram, they start fighting over who's going to get the grass for to graze the animals. So he said, okay, goodbye. It's a Yefshi Loba Avram V'lo Kov. That's called not standing in the Nisayan. Yeah, it's not easy to live in Avram Avinu's house. They don't talk about how to run stores. They don't talk about how to make money over there. They don't talk about politics over there. They talk about what's better. How can we become closer to Hashem with our short davening or with our long davening? What should we do more, learning or davening? How much? There's a different language over there. Yes, it's too hard to live that kind of life. And he went to Stam and he lived over there. And that's what I was into that. No, every person has his nisayon, and every person comes to a point where it's difficult. We think that we belong to the Haredi world, and we are also influenced from this terrible mistake that the Haredi world has a name, Haredi world, and we belong to it, so it's good enough. It's also a certain bechina. We go to the davening and we get there late. We daven fast. I was thinking, you stop sometimes. Take a few lines of the davening and think about it. And you'll see it's beautiful. It's deep. It's meaningful. Why don't we think these thoughts every day? Because we're busy, Yefshi. I'm good enough. I'm living in that world. What do I have to get better? I have to try more? Man, I don't need any more. So we're also a Yefshi of Lot is a Yefshi. Ruth, interesting that Ruth came out of Lot, like we were saying. And she said, yeah, right. There's something you could do over there. Also, you could be mashpia and orpah, not to worship Avodah, but I want to be a yid without any terutzim, without any excuses. And that's what happened in the end. You see, I saw pictures of the daughter married a Odom Gas, a person that didn't say EFG and didn't say Ein Olam Elo Echad, because there never was more than Olam Hazeh. That's all there was. Hashem said, Av Rachmanes, you'll never know. Maybe V'shovu me'eretz oyev, the pasuk says. Hashem promises Rachel Imenu. I wanted to give a whole talk about that, but that's another time. Hashem promised Rachel Imenu V'shovu me'eretz oyev. They're going to come back from the land of the enemy, which is the Satan, the Yetzirah. Who knows? Nobody knows. But our job is to be mechanech, to be molid, a family that's going to be a place for the Ashras HaShechina. And Ruth, that she said that they told her, you can't come because your name is Ruth O'Connor. So she said, I don't care, I'm coming. I don't care, so I won't have a shidduch. I won't get married. I won't have anything. Ruth Dov Kabo, Hashem Shomek Over, the biggest, the lowest level, to be buried in the Beis HaKvaros of Arugi Bezdin, but I'm buried as a Yid. That's what I don't care about more than that. I do care about more than that, but that's also enough for me. You don't want to stand in the Nisayan. Go be like Orpah. Go be Moli told us that then what happens, you send to dati-leumi, and on Biyamed in the Nisayan, which I understand it, but that's the Metzias. What happens, and then there's such a concept in the Goyish world, in the Goyim that are animals. They are, no matter how intelligent they're, there's a concept that's called a girlfriend, and there's a concept that's called a boyfriend. does our Torah say about that? The Gemara says in the end of Perek Ben Sarah, the Gemara says, he got sick, he fell in love with a certain girl, and he wanted her, and it must be that he couldn't marry her for some reason, or maybe she didn't want him. He said, at least let him talk to her, let him talk to her, let him have conversations with her, and that'll heal his love that's making him sick. And they said, Yerek Val Yavor, he should let himself die and not talk to her. That's what our Torah says. What is the Torah of the dati-leumi, the not Haredi say? What could be talking bush, talking to girls? What's wrong? It's even cute. It's even nice. It looks good. And that's what? So don't take it so seriously. Chazanish said, going to the army for a girl, or Sherut Leumi Yerek Val Yavo. That means if they come and they call a girl to go to Sherut Leumi, and she says, no, I'm not going. We're going to put you in jail, and there's going to be hard conditions there. You don't do it. The Torah says not to do it because Chazon Ish understood that to be under the reshus of a man, that is also Abizrayu, that means connected, the surrounding, the round of Gilui Arayis. He understood the Chazon Ish. And what are others say? What? We're not Haredim. That means we don't take it seriously. In these inyanim, we'll make a concept of boyfriends and girlfriends. And it's a word, it's nice, a word, so we'll keep it. We'll still keep Shabbos, we won't be baruch solis mitocha. That's what you want, to keep the halacha. So we'll do that also. Yeah, that's what you say. That's what you think. You'll see in the end what happens. And then you'll meet, and the boyfriend will meet the girlfriend in the garbage can of Olam Hazeh. And they'll think the garbage can is utopia. And they'll live together for 5 years until he squeezes out all the pleasure he could get out of her. And then he'll be tired, and he'll see there's also responsibilities. A child comes out, and what he's going to do, the child will cry in the middle of the night, you're going to get up and then let her change the diaper and take it. Why should she? Why can't you help? Because she's only here for me to squeeze out what I can for my own pleasures of my body. I don't believe in a neshama. I don't not believe in a neshama. I never even thought it's important to think about this behemoth. His attitude is like that. So let her change the diaper, let her raise the child, let her take care of everything. Yeah. And that's what comes out because you weren't Amid in the Nisayan, you weren't Mukhan to take the Bizyanis. But who am I to talk? Did I ever go through such Bizyanis? Did I ever have that? No, I didn't have. But I have my Nisyanis, and I do try to a certain degree. I try to be Amid. I try to tell myself that it's all Minah Shumaim. And I have to be mechaved my father no matter what I look at. I have to look at the good in him. And he does give me money. So and the fact that I don't think these thoughts is like a michshel from my side also. But this story came to me. I'm learning from the story. It doesn't seem that this story is going to have a continuation. It doesn't seem that I'm going to get more details, although I'm very curious. But I think this is what can be learned from this story. Now, can I keep talking?
Yeah.
Now, the truth is that's what you see by Eve. Eve didn't know what was going on in the heavenly court. If you learn the first two prakim of Yov, you see, the Satan came to Hashem, and Hashem talks to the Satan, where are you coming from? It's like louder, like two people talking. And he says, where are you coming from? He says, I was traveling around the world, and what did you see there? So there's nobody like Avram Avinu. There's only one Avram, Echad Avram. That you told him, I'm giving you the land, giving you Eretz Yisrael. In the end, he has to bury his wife. He has to go pay 400 shekel kasef. Avram Avinu stood in the Nisan. Means if he got a talking from Hashem, it means it's as if it's his. My land, you don't want me to bury my wife. It's my land. Hashem gave it to me. No, it must be Hashem knows what he's doing. I'm not complaining. I'm just gonna do it. And that the how do you say it? The achzava, how do you say that in English? The disappointment of such a situation is very, very deep. It's like somebody tells you you can't live in your own house, right? And yet below here he didn't think Hashem said this, Hashem did that. Everything is all right. I have no complaints against Hashem. The Satan was made that Avram Avinu, he's the tzaddik of the world. That's Nemun. I could trust him. His heart is trustworthy. He won't get it his way. He won't understand why Hashem is doing this to me. Nemun. I trust that Hashem knows what he's doing. Hashem said to the son, now what about Yov? He's also a Tam v'Yasha, your Elokim v'Someiro. And then they decided, okay, go do something. And the Satan took it. He made him lose all his animals and his money. And a ruth came in, took away everything, and he was left with nothing. He still was Ahmed, and then he said, I'm going to be my katzer a little bit. Finally, then again, the Sultan came back to Hashem. Hashem said, no, don't you see Yov was Ahmed in the Nisan? He passed the test. The Sultan said, yeah, let's see, he'll touch him himself. He'll touch his own skin. Let's see what'll be then. And then he gave him Yisurim, Shchin Ra. I had to sit in ashes because ashes cools off the Shchin. His friends came and they had all vikuach back and forth. Is Hashem running the world the right way? Is he not running the world the right way? But if he would have known in the beginning, all this is happening because Hashem wants to see, are you an Avram Avinu or are you a Yov? What are you? We want to see. There's a test. You can just go through the test, wait a little bit, it'll take maybe a few weeks, you'll suffer Yisurim, and then you come out, you might also be an Avram Avinu. And the Medrash says that the Sod Yeshua brings it from the Ratziner brings it. We could have also been something, that's one of the Tzaddikei Adarth. So if he would have known that was the Shakla V'Taya, the discussion in the heavenly court, if he would have known that, maybe he wouldn't have taught this whole thing. But he didn't know that. And he failed. This final Nisan, he failed and finished. And Yov is not the Tzaddik Yesod Olam. Tzaddik he is, but not the Tzaddik Yesod Olam. And Hashem came to him and finally said to him, what are you arguing? What are you fighting over there? Where were you when I made a world? Where were you then? Did you see the whole plan? Do you know what your purpose is over here? Maybe this is your purpose, to sit 7 days in the Efer with the Shechin and keep quiet and not complain and just let it happen. Maybe that's the purpose why you came down. What do you think? You came down here to have all these sonu baka and your children make parties, and then you lost it, and you lived comfortably, and now you're not comfortable anymore. So finished? Where were you b'yos when the plan was planned? You didn't see that maybe this is the whole purpose. Hashem Ani Ros, nice. You were in this gala. Okay, Emas v'nichamti alo for Vafer. It was all worth it. All this suffering that I went through. It was all the offer and the Efer that I sat in. It was all Kedai. Now I see it was worth it. Because in the end I was Zochad to have a Gilui Min HaShamayim. And now I see it all. It doesn't have to make sense. I don't care if it doesn't make sense anymore. Friends, you know better. What am I? And this Kivayidam Aaron, that keeping quiet for that Aaron was Zochad. But the Yev wasn't Zochad. But in the end, everything came back. Hilo Shivano Banim V'Sholosh Banos, 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he had everything. And Vashem Berach is Achri Yev Mereishisa. Let's remember this. Things come along in life, and this story that came my way. Bashgacha Pratis, I happened to hear this story, which I'd like to hear more of this story, but it seems that they don't want me to hear the rest of the story, because this is enough of the story to learn the lessons that you're supposed to learn. And let's all be mechazik ourselves that things that come our way, they were meant to be for a purpose, for us to grow, for us to become closer to Hashem. Just the one yesod is important. Savlanut. Wait. Don't try to correct the situation by yourself. It didn't go by this group that call themselves Charedim, so I'll go to the other group and I'll say Yefshi, lo barum, lo belikot. Don't try to fix the situation. Just stay there and wait. You'll see it'll come a day. You'll be zochet to bonim ubnei bonim oskim b'Torah b'mitzvos. You'll be zochet to the biggest nahas. Baruch Hashem, we see children go to Chadorim nowadays, and they learn, especially the Chadorim where my grandchildren go to in Givat Shul, and they learn Chazer so much. They come home, you could say a pasuk, they know the pasuk. Say a Chazal, they know what you're talking about. What could be a bigger pleasure than that? What could be bigger? That's not the pleasure of money. It's not the pleasure of sex. It's not the pleasure of food. It's a pleasure that's called nachas. Tov ma pasa charevo v'shalvo bo tov melok kaf nachas mi bayis maliziv cherif. A kaf nachas. My grandson, Baruch Hashem, I don't know if I should tell this. My grandson finished Seder Moed in Chazor with many Chazors, and he knows it. And they started Chazing Seder, learning Seder Koch Mishnayos, I'm talking about. He's afraid that now they start something new, he might forget. So he takes some Mishnayos to bed, and with a nightlight, and he learns a few Mishnahs in bed, and my son showed me a picture how he fell asleep with the Mishnayos on it. I'm a millionaire that I have such a grandson. I'm rich. I'm the biggest simcha that I know there is such a thing. So what do I care where I'm living, what I have? I have a small deer and what do I care? What could measure? Can you show me another pleasure in the world that could measure with this kaf nachas, with a kaf of nachas? Hashem should help. Everybody should open up their eyes. Everybody should see what's the right derech. We shall have nachas on our children, and all those that can't find shidduchim should find bekarav, and all those don't have children should have children. And we should all be zocheh to go, be mekabel b'nei Mashiach tzidkenu v'karav.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi Kaplan. It's nice to have you back.